So this episode's going to be kind of out there. It's going to be a little woo-woo. If I'm sitting on the couch, legs folded, that's the space that I'm in. All right, this is the way I want to go into this. So there's a lot of information about space and the vastness. And as you know, the size of the universe isn't something we could comprehend, right? Like, how do you imagine infinite? And I think the more we focus on um, what's out there instead of what's in here. Actually, no, let me say it like this. If you focus on what's out there, like how big the universe is, if there's aliens, like all these big questions, which yeah, they are important. It is interesting. It's fascinating. I think we live in a crazy time in that we have technology and telescopes that um, give us more information today than ever before, right? And so I get the fascination, but because I'm such a street level guy, if we find out, I think we have found out that there are aliens and other life forms. How does that impact your day to day? It is interesting, and I think it definitely changes how we see this world, right? And the world experience. But like, how does that change your day to day? Is that going to change your life tomorrow? Is it going to change your relationships? Is it going to change your love for work? Do you not have to pay taxes anymore? Right? It's probably not going to change a lot of your day to day. Now, if you explore the infinite inside, meaning, um, and these are big words like consciousness, like source, spirit, like all the abstract and vastness by going inward. Now, if you explore that, because to me that's just as a an abstract concept as space. One is outside of self, infinitely, and one is inside of self, infinitely. And I would also like to add the story because I believe that story is also bigger than ourselves, right? And so, if we start to explore by going inward, spirit, source, story, the vastness that is inside you, right? If we are able to filter through, process, just constantly explore what's happening inside our internal journey, that will directly change your life. That will directly change your day to day. Because what happens is uh, you start to form new perspectives. You start to see your outside world different because your inner journey changes lenses. You know, just me having this conversation is coming from a place where I feel like I'm in kind of the afternoon of my life, as Carl Jung says, and just by age and being a little more calm, I'm kind of more thirsty to go inward. It's become more natural for me as opposed to, in my 20s and 30s where I was more focused on outward. I didn't care about inward. I didn't think looking inward would change my life or that it was important. What I cared about was what my life looked like on the outside and everything outside of self. Um, after, I mean, the divorce was kind of the beginning, but I would say recently, like maybe starting at 45 or so, getting more still and curious about my inner process. But my point is now that exploration directly affects your day to day because it changes your perspective. It changes what you put weight on. It changes the kind of life that you want. It, I know for me, the combination of actively um, looking inward, being curious about what's happening inside, right? And I think that that comes with, um, or I think the primer for that is stillness. And so stillness for you can be, of course, meditation, but it could also be stillness can also be a 4 minute ice plunge. Stillness can be 20 minutes on a motorcycle. Stillness can be stretching, so whatever stillness looks like for you, so there isn't a lot of noise. And then the practice of being a seeker as far as your inner journey. And I really believe that that's where the answers are, right? Like, it's not our outer journey or space universe. It's exploring what's inside in your internal process, and then that changing everything from perspective to what kind of experiences you want on this planet. The other thing is, I feel like the more that you explore your inner journey, the more that your experience on this planet becomes greater than you. There's almost like a bridge, a connection to the inner journey, to space, universe, vastness, right? There's a connection there. So it's almost like, in order to go there, to explore that, you have to go inward instead of looking at telescopes, if that makes sense. I just saw something I forgot where it was from, but they were saying that, speaking of aliens, that the speed of light is too slow, and that aliens use the speed of thought. I know this is really, really strange, but like, how fast that you could think something, and based on that thought, the power of that thought, being the transportation to. And so, like, it's like, when you snap your fingers, it's that quick, thought. And that's how they travel through dimensions and space, as opposed to speed of light, which is really slow, right, compared to thought. And so, wait, why am I saying this? I had a point. When you investigate and explore your inner journey, I think it actually translates outward. Like, I think there are powers, superpowers, things that we may or may not be aware of, that are found through the practice of going inward, if that makes sense, right? I'm not saying that we have the ability to travel through dimensions and space based on our thoughts, or maybe we do. I don't know, but I think the inward is connected to something greater than ourselves, which is outward. And I think the way that we get there is looking inward, not looking through telescopes, if that makes sense. So my question to you is this: how do you do it? How do you? And I don't think it requires anything expensive, elaborate. I don't think it requires a master's degree. I think what it requires is a practice. I think it requires a paying attention to. I think it requires, because the other thing it does that I've noticed is I'm a lot more grounded today. I'm still high strung. I'm still all over the place. I mean, that's kind of like built into my personality, but I breathe, right? I used to forget to breathe. I'm more grounded. So whether I'm sitting with my partner, my daughter, if I'm in a session, if I'm at we just got back from running a retreat, and it was an intimate experience. I noticed that I'm more present. I noticed that I look people in the eyes. I notice that I take in people's energy, not just what's coming out of their mouth, right? I notice that I'm able to be more cumulative. I'm able to see the whole picture. I have the ability to pull back more now more than ever. My nervous system is more calm. And so all of that directly affects your day to day. I mean, these are, I think, life tools where you can lower your anxiety. I mean, less anxiety is kind of the byproduct, I think, of this. So I know it's kind of a grab bag episode today, and it's a little all over the place, but it isn't. I mean, it is, but it isn't, because I mean, what I'm talking about is a lot of stuff from Buddhism, which is not being hooked, looking inward, being still. It's about grounding yourself. I think when you ground yourself, you become a sharper radar and a conduit to share your gifts. If you're not grounded, I think you're kind of like you're like a hose that's turned on, but no one's holding it, and the hose is just going crazy, right? When you're grounded, you could actually take that hose and point it at something, you know. And I think that comes with stillness, the investigation of the inner journey. Uh, and I really believe, and this is sometimes hard for many people. I know it's hard for me. You start to want different things in life. You start to want different experiences, and it's not coming from a place of numbing or running, which it may have in your 30s, but I think it comes from a more place of curiosity. Comes from it comes from a higher grade. It comes from being thirsty for life. It comes from wanting more from life than just waking up and working and paying bills, right? And you're more open. I think that's what the word that's what it is. The more inward you go, the more you go on that journey, the more open you become. And the more open you become, the more you're going to be of service, the more your gifts shine. But at the same time, more open you become, and the less binary the world is, because I don't really see things as black and white and wrong or right. Uh, I've tried to eliminate shoulds, and I now see um, whether it's someone's decisions or if it's how we love or if it's relationship formats or whatever. I'm just open to, or try to be open to all, and try to be curious instead of judge. It expands you, and I could feel in my body it expands you instead of constricting you. But my point is that when you do practice more openness, you start to want different things, and you start to realize that your time on this planet is short. And I think that's also what's happening to me as I just turned 50. Like, yeah, I remember. I mean, it doesn't feel like yesterday. It feels like 3 days ago that I was in high school, ditching school and skimboarding and, eating burgers and hanging out with people in vintage trucks and uh, rolling over, just doing stupid shit, stealing car stereos and rolling over people's lawns and chasing girls and all that. That doesn't feel that far away. And now, wow, and suddenly I'm 50. And I know I'm going to blink my eyes and my daughter will be in high school going to prom, and I'll be in my 60s. And then, entering entering the sunset of my life instead of the afternoon. We just have such a short time here. And so if you don't go inward and you just focus on the external, if you are just looking at telescopes, it's going to be, I mean, I've always said the saddest thing on this planet is wasted potential. And I think that your potential will be wasted if you don't go on that inner journey. Thank you for listening. Be well.